Hi, welcome back to another episode of Clinical Veterinary Recruiting Insights. I'm your host, Brad McMillan. I'm here with Laraime Doyal. Laraime is a clinical veterinarian right now, had recently graduated from Ross University and has now entered the field of lab animal medicine. So, Laraime, thanks for joining us.
Hey, love to be here. Thank you for having me, Mr. Brett.
So tell me a little bit about how you got into veterinary medicine.
So, just out of necessity, really, it is just a real reward to get into actually veterinary school. But growing up on a ranch for a majority of summers at my grandparents, it was nice to have the luxury of a veterinarian, but a lot of things that just how we grew up and managed what we needed to, it was all out of necessity. So you took care of most things yourself before you ever reached out to somebody you entrusted with animal welfare that basically alluded to your livelihood. And so, as with that being said, it was because I was in that environment growing up as a young child, just without the guidance of an actual practitioner. And so, getting through high school and everything, I went ahead and found my first job as a veterinary technician working on a racetrack. And so, with some racetrack veterinarians, and so that was very rewarding to immediately jump to something as prestigious as that was in the early 2000s. And then that just kind of springboarded. It took a while to get into the actual school, but more or less that what propelled me, through the rest of it was just seeing that initial opening as a veterinary technician.
Nice, nice. And so you graduated from Ross University, right?
That's correct. Initially, my undergraduate work was at Texas A&M, and my graduate work at Texas A&M as well as in the poultry industry, or the academics of poultry science. And so that my first opportunity to get into vet school did come from Ross, and so I didn't want to wait any longer and took that opportunity.
Okay, okay. So what were your thoughts about veterinary medicine before veterinary school?
Oh, I guess it that's actually a very good question. And so, thoughts on veterinary medicine was rewarding from the outside looking in. They were your first and your last call in most situations and circumstances, and they're about the only ones that could help. That was prior to, I guess, the real admit of the internet and the ability to use it and search, for a lot of the materials that are out there now. And so, just kind of from what I envisioned and from what I saw, it's a lot more, I guess, lucrative. There's a lot more possibilities. It's not just your farm animals, your ranch calls, your dogs and cats. It's just so many different avenues that it could be applied, whether that be in agricultural based in another country, working on deworming protocols or getting livestock up to speed for human consumption. It's just that I didn't realize how far it extended outside of just your neighborhood, doctor for your pets.
Okay. What while you're going to vet school, what did you hear about lab animal medicine? What were some of your thoughts about lab animal medicine, if any? I know for many it's kind of a one-time class or a weekend flyer or something like
It
that.
it obviously it I actually wasn't very much in all reality, and so they basically in one of your first semesters, they had individuals at the front of the class hold up signs to kind of show you what you might be making. And in of these or each of these disciplines, whether that be orthopedics or small animal, mixed animal, and lab animal didn't fare very well as far as their numbers that they had provided. And so there wasn't a lot of recruitment initially. There wasn't a lot of individuals that had done previous research work or been in those situations that lab animal medicine was applicable. So overall, it's very minimal. And from being in this opportunity now, I could see that all that was wrong. It is totally inaccurate, and I wish there were more individuals that would speak out and let people that are in school or out of school or not liking the career they did pursue, that there are other opportunities out there that are not just working with mice in small enclosures, or there's just it's a large world and it's its own discipline. It's nothing like any other species I've worked with, or even the doctors have a different mindset. It's very rewarding.
Fantastic. So, why did you end up picking lab animal medicine?
It was a career opportunity that presented itself and allowed me to separate myself from a lot of my classmates. It was something I never considered. I was young in my career, and uh, I'd done previous research work at Texas A&M at the Reproductive Sciences Complex, working with some of the doctors there for genetic modifications, cloning, vectors, and such. And so I knew it was very rewarding, and I knew this was something that would further set myself away from some of my colleagues, and I probably wouldn't have this opportunity ever again. So I took it while I was young in my career and haven't looked back. Is it long term? I'm not sure, just because I want to keep building and establishing a lot of skill set, but the opportunities are all there. So
Sure.
I am very pleased with the choice I made.
Sure. So what are some of your impressions of lab animal medicine now? Now that you're in it, kind of day to day. What have you learned? What have your eyes been opened a little bit since you've been in the world?
Certainly. So you're not just dealing with clientele and then trying to do the best for each individual species. It is herd medicine that I did not exactly um, give full recognition to, coming into this field. And so that went hand in hand with a lot of the livestock work I'd done as a child, and kind of where I was actually wanting to go long term, and or considered wanting to go. And so it has allowed you to, I guess, broaden your horizons in regards to the medicine that you apply, just because you do not have the specifics or the time to babysit or to facilitate one animal. You have hundreds, if not thousands. Now, it also this career field is very unique in that there's a lot of overreach in regards to human sector, and so I have enjoyed the thoughts of that process of being able to work with a lot of MDs, and also worldwide. It's more so than any of your livestock or your equine or your small animal practitioners will ever get. And going global, I never considered, but the thought of it is very eye-opening, and I cherish that pursuit.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, as many people don't know a ton about lab animal medicine, getting into it from a different side, what can you tell me about just a day in the life? And I understand you're at a very specific non-human primate facility right now. But with that being said, tell me about a day in the life.
So this is very different than as a mixed animal practitioner that as a facility I was previously at, or the location I was previously at, where you came in 7:30, 8 o'clock, you got rocking and rolling with clients on a I guess a scheduled, prompted level. Here, when you pull up to the facility, you're greeted by hundreds of people. It employs different walks of life, as far as people that are more or less just from the town and want to stay in the town. It employs people from across the world, and so you have lots of individuals where you could communicate and kind of get to know and grow with. And so getting in here, there's lots of people to speak with, lots of people to talk with. As far as working with the primates, it's like I said, it's herd health. So it's just large. You're not sure what you're going to get. You're not dealing with the clients per se, and it's going to be uh, lots of depending on the time of the year. Whether you're getting lots of diarrhea, you're getting some traumas because you're at a breeding facility, and more or less you have a structure, but it doesn't always go as scripted.
Sure, sure. What's been your greatest success story there so far, if you can share it?
So since there's breeding colonies here, you're going to have that male dominance that goes on, and and all that entails. Whether it's cattle to swine to anything, you're going to have the pecking order that goes into establishing breeding colonies. And so some of these traumas that come through can be extensive just because of the hardware that these primates carry in regards to their canines. But these their healing capacity and abilities is just remarkable. And so you think if you were to see this in a cat or a dog, you're contemplating the decisions of, hey, is euthanasia the primary responsibility at this moment in time? But these guys, their will, their strength, their ability to I guess curtail any diseases that normally would or any type of their pain threshold. It's quite a bit, and so being it as rewarding as it is to uh, have something that comes in that you're second guessing yourself, that they actually do a lot of the work for you as well.
Nice, nice, nice. Um, what advice would you give to vet students or recent veterinarians who know very little about lab animal medicine?
To reach out, do your own research, and not be at making your decisions based off what you're being told. Especially somebody who's not in the industry. They just provide generics in vet school. Everyone knows this as you get through or you move through, progress through the different years. That the amount that you learn is a lot, but it's very little as it pertains to the outside world. And so there's a lot more learning to establish, and it's your responsibility to chase that. Nobody's going to provide it, and so as far as lab animal medicine, look into it. Give it an opportunity. If opportunity presents itself, try. Just don't get complacent. There's so many more opportunities in lab animal than I ever envisioned or even pretended to consider. And you could do as little or as much as you want in this field.
Nice, nice. So you talked about some of the bites and some of the male dominance and some of the diarrhea. What other types of cases do you see?
A lot of these animals are coming from overseas, and so you're dealing with issues that are occurring over there, and they bring it to your doorstep, and it's your position to go ahead and try to almost rewind time in a sense to get these animals. Some are healthy, most of them are healthy. It's just you got some that's just the stressors of the travel that now you're having to kind of, I don't want to say use the word deal with, but it's your responsibility to get them back on an even keel and get them healthy and back to a rewarding, I guess, body condition lifestyle. And like I said, it's nothing to say that they're coming over in poor health or anything. It's stressful. If anyone has done any extensive traveling, you could understand the toll it takes on your body. And so to get them here to have them available, they're going through the same thing. Just you aren't able to communicate with them effectively, like as if you and I were to take a trip. So having that, so that's one unique aspect. You're not getting cats and dogs or horses from thousands of miles away typically, and putting them in a foreign environment. So that was eye opening, and it's very rewarding to see, one, how strong they can be. They're making that trip, and it's without complaints. And some of the other, I guess, parameters that we deal with on a daily basis, or I guess structured mainly to the diarrhea, or figure out different type of diets that are going to be more appropriate here in the States. That it's opposed to where they came from, and a lot of them come from tropical environments to where the what they're being fed or what they're being offered is not necessarily the same type of nutritional quantity or quality that's here. And so it's all just constantly maneuvering and being adjustable and flexible to maintain the status.
Cool, cool. Well, we were talking. What was your what's been your favorite case so far that you've worked on? Do you have one?
I would say many are rewarding. I wouldn't say one in particular is my favorites. The opportunity I've been provided. Let's put it this way: my favorite cases has been my exposure and the availability and the ability of the caseloads to actually build my skill set. And I mean that in the sense of, as a young graduate, getting the opportunity to do fracture repairs, your cast placements, your orthopedic work, a lot of your advanced soft tissue work. It's more than you're going to get as being out of school so early without having zero mentorship. So having it here, having senior doctors and clinicians over you, and having that opportunity, just because the volume of cases is very rewarding in that sense.
So, from a hands-on clinical medicine perspective, how many cases are you seeing a day?
Hundreds, literal hundreds. And so whether that's case side obs in the records, but actually physically laying your hands on and doing physical exams, you would say upwards of 40, 50, 60 sometimes. And so, and that's just what comes into the hospital. There could be other opportunities, and like processing, you're getting ready to get a load that's ready for shipment. And so there you might be going through a couple hundred.
Wow. Wow. So have you gotten a chance to work through all the rotations?
Yes, sir. And so, different actual, there's many rotations here at this facility, but also different species of primates. And so, learning their uniqueness, learning their specific characteristics and their variabilities was different as well. But it comes with time. You just got to immerse yourself. But yes, as far as working in every aspect of the role here, it it's unlike any other. I'll tell you that. So over 2 miles, if you walk the perimeter, some people
Wow.
do it on lunch just to just to get stretch your legs, even though everyone's on foot most of the time. But it the how large it is and the amount of monkeys, it's just unreal. What Like I said, I just sit in this hospital for if I know it's going to be busy, and there's 3 tables, and I'm bouncing from table to table to table. And as soon as we get that one done and cleaned off, the next one's on there. So it's like I said, it's you go for something where you got 30 minute to an hour appointments, and you're twiddling your thumbs to just constantly busy. But the the comfort level that I'm establishing with speed and efficiency, and sometimes you kind of have to make it up, right? That, like, when I say make it up, you draw on what you've learned or what you can resource in your mind. Let's say horrible mastitis or something like that. Well, you're used to dealing with cattle, right, or goats, right? Now you got a primate that's more like a human, and so right, now you got to draw on the John Hopkins people, if but no, you're using your large animal experience to get these guys better. But it's how they deal with mastitis in women. It's just what cabbage leaves to get plugged ducts, but that's not mastitis, so it's totally different.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's a sight to behold. Like I said, whether you're processing patients that are coming in through quarantine or that are going to go out on study somewhere, or just being here in the hospital and taking care of that caseload, it's it's busy, but it comes with a little bit of rhyme or rhythm, so you're very comfortable in what you're seeing.
So, with the high volume of cases that you're seeing, do you think that a companion animal veterinarian would see as many cases in a short period of time as
Definitely
you
not.
have?
Not even an emergency hospital. Just for the simple fact that uh, the triage is done at different, I guess, level here, just because of the volume of technicians and animal care technicians, and the reporting bodies that are throughout the company. And so you have a lot of individuals that are here supporting you as in that support staff role. Pretty simple. You gain the trust of the technicians. You implore them to do good. You teach them things, and that's another aspect, another spin on that for recruiting is your technicians have a lot more opportunities here, than they would at any small animal hospital or even mixed animal, just because a lot of them are being able to do a lot more surgical procedures, as with oversight, obviously. But it's you don't have that one cat that you worried about, Miss Johnson or whatever, getting upset about, right? And so they're not just restraining; they're actually highly valuable, and their work description is what they're able to do. So
No, that's
I
awesome.
really they're very good. They're skilled, and so you don't have that client interaction that you're having to wait for them to make a decision. You have the freedoms to go ahead and make the best call possible at that moment in time. The financial restraints are very minimal as far as what you're allowed to do. And if I was strictly speaking of thinking back on the mixed animal world, it's just financial constraints. Can I run this test? Can I not? Can I run do this procedure or not? And so there's a lot of communications and back and forth to find out if it's their ability as far as their pocketbook speaks. And here it's all about animal welfare. And so the company does great and goes through great measures to provide all the resources that are available. And so that's what allows me to cut out a lot of unnecessary communication and time, is to just get to work and do what's best for the animal.
Okay. Okay. Do you think a lab animal medicine residency would be required to enter lab animal medicine?
There's a uniqueness that lies in my position. I came in through due to the fact that the company was looking to hire as quickly as possible, and the opportunity that presented itself did not require a lab or a residency program at that moment in time. However, it is my understanding that that is highly sought in an applicant, and so as far as the medicine goes, I haven't noticed a difference
Okay.
regarding your application of what you've learned through vet school or any other component of veterinary medicine as a practitioner. So I don't think it's fair for me to speak on what extra they would bring in as a clinician here on site, but I do know that it's highly sought after, and specifically mainly for the research background. But I understand there's some cross education goes with the anatomy and physiology of a primate. So I haven't run into any hiccups, but like I said, I do understand that why it would be highly appreciated to have that residency.
Nice, nice, nice. Um, so yeah, listen. Any parting thoughts to the to the audience listening?
Yeah.
Transitioning over.
Transition, just keep an open mind. It's just like any new job you start. There's going to be it's going to be a little slower than what you expect until you get your hands and get fully immersed in the situation or the new skill set. But always keep that open mind. Everyone has started somewhere, and the amount that you can learn and the resources and the networking that's out there is unprecedented as far as when it compares to some of the other, I guess, disciplines in veterinary medicine. So always keep that fire burning and wanting to develop the new skill sets and meet and greet and learn something new. And just know that there's way more opportunities in lab animal medicine than are being reported. Just because of the issues and the discrepancies and the confusion that may lie with a lot of outside influencers or their concerns, and that you can hold your head up in high in this level of medicine.
Fantastic, fantastic. So wanted to thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much, and I do look forward to any other questions that anyone might have or another opportunity. So thank you very much.
All right.